Welcome to our LinkedIn Live event, Making Sense of Sustainability, Carbon Footprint, and Goals Related to Those. So before we get started, I want to just cover some quick housekeeping. This is a recorded event. If you have questions or statements that you'd like to make, please add those to the comment section in this event. And if we're not able to address it here during our conversation, we'll make sure that we address those in the future. So Dave, welcome again. Dave March, CEO with Exergy Energy.
Randall, welcome back. And I do have to let you know that the results of the Randall Beard poll came back and it's a dead tie. Okay. 238 said shave, 238 said keep. So it's now best 2 out of 3 or whatever. So we'll find out. So please send us a comment on whether Randall should keep your today.
Okay. We'll make that the comment section. The poll there will be the determinant.
Actually, I think what we should do is actually have a poll on LinkedIn. And we'll put a picture of you.
Absolutely. So Dave, this topic, sustainability, goals associated with it, it's something that comes up and every executive of any kind of business has either, built a project around it or been told that they should. So what is the problem with sustainability goals? Like when I'm approached with it?
Yeah. So the first one is just the term sustainability. Okay. It is one, very poorly, if it even is defined. And number two, in that context, it is so broad that if somebody says we need a sustainability initiative, you have no idea what you're talking about. And what I mean by that, it could be everything from, gee, how do we reduce our carbon footprint, to how do we reduce what's going to the landfill, to how much do we reduce our water consumption, to executive management, succession planning. How do we make our company more attractive to, younger people to come and join us? How do we promote diversity? All of these things. Because what does sustainability mean? It means how do we make sure that our organization can, and I'll say, theoretically, live forever? It's stable. Yeah. It is so broad that it's, in most cases, I'm going to say, unworkable.
Yeah. Yeah. When you have trouble even defining what it is, how can you set goals around it?
Yeah. It's like, where do you want to start? Right. And,
no matter where you start, it'll be wrong. So with that amount of confusion out there, even around the definition of the topic, let alone trying to actually put some good sustainability goals in place, what should an organization be doing, when it comes to sustainability goals to kind of get things started?
Right. So I had to go back into classic literature to find something, and it sort of came to me, and it is, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it one bite at a time. So how do you set sustainability goals and things like that? Is you've got to break it down into pieces. You can't tackle the whole thing. So let's break it down into pieces and then take and prioritize those pieces. We'll get into how you prioritize those. Yeah. And then you deal with one until you get it, sort of stabilized. And then you go to the next one and the next one and the next one. So from that perspective, the three things that you really, really want to consider is what we call MSA: manage it, systematize it, and then automate it. So what I mean by manage it is, sort of manually, you got to do it and figure out what is the system by how you record data, compare data, make decisions. A lot of this is basically decision science. When do we invest in what? What is the right goal? What is the right set? So you have to systematize it, and then you want to automate it because you got so much work to do that if you think about, sustainability and managing a path, nobody's going to get sustainability next quarter. Okay. Right. This is a long-term journey. If you're going to have 20 potentially different sustainability sort of topics, you got to be able to get them automated, get one automated, move to the next one, get that one automated with a robust and automated reporting structure, management structure, and things like that. The fourth one is a little bit odd is you also want to try and keep consistent with where the market is focused. And there's two reasons for that. The first one is from the standpoint of the enterprise value, right? So if we're looking at, I'm picking, we're looking at ABC, but most investors are looking at EDF. They're both sustainability related. It's just that right now investors are more focused on one versus the one we're focused on. That will undermine our enterprise value. That's not a good thing, even though you've got to do both. The second part of you want to keep consistent with the market is the market responds to your needs and will develop tools and systems and products and everything else. So if most of the market is focused on, and we'll pick one, right? Carbon footprint reduction, you're going to have a lot easier time getting results there at a lower cost with more efficiency and better product and everything else than if you're trailblazing someplace else where the market hasn't yet focused. So again, the big three, you got to compartmentalize them, focus on those, manage, systematize, automate, and prioritize based upon what the market is primarily focused on right now, and associated with that, where there's the most support, quantification, and clarity around what you're trying to do. So if we talk about energy, water, carbon footprint, very quantifiable. The science isn't different. Science is well known. There's a lot of support and tools. If we're out on how do we manage and recruit Gen Zs or millennials or something like that, much, much more difficult.
So with that in mind, if I'm that executive and I've kind of gone through that process and I've got an idea of how I'm going to go about it now, what goals, where should I start? You mentioned, start what you do it one bite at a time. What would be my first bite in regards to like my target or a goal I could set?
So the first area you should focus on is energy and your carbon footprint. And those two are very, very closely related. And why is that? Number one, everybody is focused on it. Okay. Yeah. So when people talk about climate change, decarbonization, and everything else, they are talking about energy and carbon footprint. From the standpoint of where's the market and ESG goals and everything else, what are the boards of directors talking about? They're really talking about how you're going to reduce your carbon footprint. How are we going to address climate change? That's where we suggest you focus. After that, then I would go, then the other two after that. Now we're an energy company, so of course we're going to focus on energy, water, and then I'm going to say solid waste and waste products, right? Because we've got to do something about landfills and everything else. But again, going back is tackle one, you wrestle it to ground, get it done, manage it, systematize it, automate it, feel comfortable that you've got goals and projects and especially reporting and metrics. And I'll put this as a big one in big quotes, benchmarking. Okay. Yeah. Get those things done first for one, then move on to the other. Now, also with respect to how do you get started and what's the process? And we said, you have to, we say start with energy and carbon footprint and things like that. Yeah. First thing that you need to do is know where you're starting from. Okay. What's your baseline? Right now, there's a lot of help out there and things like that. But what we see is, and this comes back to this question of, are you sort of consistent with the market? What we see is a lot of management teams and organizations go, well, we'll just, cut our carbon footprint by 50% in the next 10 years. So, great goal. What's it based on? Where did you come up with it? Right. Type of thing. And plus, if you cut your carbon footprint 50% in 10 years, are you leading the industry or are you actually behind the industry? I mean, where are you today and where is the industry today? So you got two problems. If you're really, really bad, okay, and I mean that honestly, if you're really bad, you may think you're setting a very aggressive or, altruistic target only to be worse than the industry average for
everyone else.
and that's going to come back and bite you. I mean, literally, because as we get more ESG reporting and things like that. Alternatively, if you say we're going to lead the industry by 10 years, well, you're out there in the bleeding edge potentially. If you've got the capital and things like that, fantastic. But the risk becomes a lot greater because you may not have the technologies out there, the capital is going to be more expensive and things like that. So number one, benchmark. Number one is baseline. Where are we today? And then benchmark. If we're here, and there's a whole variety, we'll talk about this later, of quantities you look at, energy utilization intensity, BTUs per square foot, and all kinds of things on, within your industry and function. Baseline first, then benchmark. How are we doing relative to our industry? Are we better or are we worse, et cetera, et cetera? Why benchmark? Because again, it comes down to the value that's created. Because if we're better than the industry, great. We need to, we want to be better. Do you want to be a whole lot better? That's essentially a management decision. But if you aren't even close and you're setting goals that don't even get you close, it will put you at a competitive disadvantage more and more so as time goes on.
Time goes by. Yeah, and I like that concept too of, I pick one and I get started on it, and then I run that to ground, and it builds that system-wide muscle. So that we know we can do this and we know how to go about this. Now let's look at another goal. So, as I'm doing that.
If I build on that for a second, because some of these sustainability goals are interestingly integrated. So let's take it as the company or the organization becomes more focused on their managing, okay, again, that manage, systematize, automate, it changes the culture, and the culture becomes more cognizant and open to sustainability and focus in there. That can help dramatically in your hiring of new people, because the millennials today and things are very mission driven. And how do you compare with your competition with respect to your ESG goals, your Energy Star ratings and things like that? So they sort of work together synergistically.
Yeah, and while you're addressing one topic, you're almost on accident or on purpose, you're addressing everybody's biggest concern, and that's labor. Making yourself attractive in the labor market.
Absolutely. And again, just from the value of the organization. And that, again, this is a capitalistic society. If my stock price is higher relative to my competition, even for the same profit levels, right? So my PE ratio is higher. That gives me a lower cost of capital, which gives me additional capital availability, which makes me more competitive, and I can beat my competition even better, right? So it is a really interesting dynamic.
And when I'm going about it and I work on, trying to systematize this within my organization, what are some good tools or systems out there, that I can use as that framework to help me, understand where am I today? Help me set those benchmarks and then, kind of work those plans.
I'll give sort of the state of the industry and then our preference. Okay. Mm-hmm. State of the industry is I'll call it, they're called building management systems, right? So, the big names in building management, they manage energy and all that kind of stuff. They have very, very good reporting systems and things like that. And that can help a whole lot. They don't provide as much in the area of benchmarking, industry comparisons, industry averages, and things like that. The one that we have standardized on, the one that we recommend, and we'll get into, and one we provide our customers, happens to be free, okay? And it's the Department of Energy's Energy Star Portfolio Manager.
Yeah.
And I'll give some screenshots and things like that. But it's a free software. It is cloud-based and things like that. Super easy to use. But what it does, or what is built into it, it allows you to track your energy consumption, water consumption of all kinds, waste generation, all that type of thing, but also set goals and objectives, track how you're going across, against those objectives, put in projects, so how those projects are going to work in with your goals and objectives to reach that. It provides benchmarking. So what you pick what we call a building or facility function. What does this facility do? And you describe it in detail. And there is a list from the DOE. I think there's 38 commercial functional building types. And then there's a whole host of questions. You answer those for that building, and then it will benchmark your building against the industry of those similar buildings, but of course adjusted for size, location, temperature ranges, and all of those things. So it provides you a fantastic way to see how you compare to the industry, to the best in the industry. And then Energy Portfolio Manager is also linked to the Lawrence Berkeley facility database, which has 10 million buildings and things in that database with all of the details on it. So you can literally run custom analyses against other buildings and things like that. But the real key thing here is it provides all of the tracking, reporting, benchmarking. It will provide you with your Energy Star score. So if you wanted to go and get a certified Energy Star rating for your facility, this is the perfect tool to use to do that. And the beauty of it is it's all automated data feeds. So it's set up that you can get your energy, your electricity in, directly from the utility. You don't have to worry about it. Your gas, your water usage, and all that. And the DOE has worked very, very closely with most of the utilities in the U.S. to have all of that sort of pre-wired and everything. So as I said, we have standardized on it in our shop, such as if you're an Exergy customer, you have an Energy Star account that's been integrated into your customer portal. So not only can you see everything that we've been doing for you and your invoices and all that kind of stuff, we track all of this information automatically for you in Portfolio Manager, and provide more insight as well, because we also have more costing information and things than would be available directly from the utility, and can help you in managing goal setting and other investments and things like that. It's a fabulous tool, and as I said, it's free. As well as you can manage as many properties or facilities as you want.
So that was my next question with all those capabilities is, what is the cost? And you look at it, and the challenge sometimes with a tool like that is, even though I see the functionality that once it's set up, I get automatic feeds, and then I've got a good dashboard where I can take a look and see how I'm performing. It's always the fuzziness of, boy, that must be a massive project to get it set up and configured. How does that factor in for Exergy clients?
Well, for an Exergy client, we take responsibility. So let's say you have 10 facilities, and facility number one, you want to have in the Exergy backup as a service program, right? And in that program, we also take responsibility for managing your energy procurement, your natural gas procurement. All those contracts and things are in the portal. As getting you set up as a customer, we take the full responsibility to create your account in Portfolio Manager, get from you all of the facility data and things, have you bless it saying, yeah, this makes sense, and this is how I would compare myself to the industry. And then we set up all of the data exchanges and linkages and things like that, automatically for you. So you can go into your portal, see how that facility is performing, the goal setting and benchmarking. Now, if you want to put additional properties in, even though we are not providing backup as a service there, or we're not going to do any business with you on those other facilities, we will then assist you in getting them set up. The same process. We send you the templates, we ask you for some information, we take responsibility to get you set up. So you get to have sort of one place to go that's going to set it all up for you very straightforwardly, very, very easy. Because the biggest problem with any tool is it's only as good as the frequency with which you use it. You know what I mean? So it's a fantastic tool. Look, I think they've done an absolutely outstanding job. But if you're only going in once a quarter because you're reporting on for your ESG goals or something, you may not be that consistent. You don't use it consistently. You may not. You may have a lot of errors and things like that. So it's better to have somebody who's doing it literally every day, manage it for you. So all you have to do is that once a quarter, go in and push a button and says, run my reports for me. So that's how we do it. So again, if you have 10 properties, we're managing one, we'll make sure we're managing all 10 from Portfolio Manager for you.
And that's the nice thing is if I have multiple facilities and I'm only able to leverage Exergy at one location for whatever reason, I'm not forced to use multiple tools to manage all my other facilities. It's all in one place. So yeah, that's a nice benefit.
And one of the nice things about Portfolio Manager, number one, is Energy Star is a very well recognized and extremely well respected brand, right? Yeah. So part of one of the standard reports, and I can show you one of those, is what is your Energy Star rating for this facility? So when you're talking about comparing yourself to the industry and things like that, what's your Energy Star score? And that can mean a lot. And I'm just making this up, right? But you're talking to your board of directors, or you've got an analyst, meeting or something, and say, oh, by the way, in our ESG goals, our facilities have an Energy Star rating of 80. The industry average, our industry average is 50. And here are the things we're doing. Oh, let's show you this, this type of thing. The other thing is there's tremendous support out there. I think there are currently 100,000 Energy Star Portfolio Manager users out there already, which means you can have conversations with people in your industry and talk about things, and you have the same sort of lingua franca. You're talking the same thing. You understand what is being said. The other thing is because I'm not going to say it's open source, but it's sort of free. It's got an API and things like that. There's extensions we've added. So let's say, for example, you were in New York City. For those of you in New York City, you know about LL97, which is a carbon footprint requirement for your building. So you have to report on your carbon footprint. It's a standardized way of calculating it, standardized form, all of that. And for those you don't know about 97 is if you have a carbon intensity per square foot more than X, you get penalized, okay? Literally, you get fined. And that's ramping up considerably over time. The guys that wrote LL97 were very smart, reached out to the DOE and Energy Star and said, we want to make sure that there's support for these people. So you can literally get your reports for LL97 out of Portfolio Manager as well. And again, that's something that we're there to help you with.
Yeah, and that's just one example of specific to New York, but as time goes on, issues like that are going to become commonplace. So it's nice to have a database where you can manage it.
Yeah, if I can take just a second to share some screens with you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't mean to be selling Energy Star, but so this is coming through the Exergy portal. So, when you sign into the portal, it will connect you to your Energy Star Portfolio Manager account. And the way it works is we essentially jointly own your account. So you own the properties, we manage the data flows and things for those properties for you and handle all of that. You can see your properties but you can't see you can't see anybody else's properties, customers or so. So this is sort of your dashboard. So this is the different properties that we have on here. These are just demos and samples here. This is somewhat dated, but your Energy Star score for this property, we'll look into it. Your energy utilization intensity, this happens to be in kilo BTUs per square foot. Your source energy use intensity, this is where energy is coming in to you. So if we take a look at one of these facilities, this happens to be, here is a hospital. Here is a summary. So we have an Energy Star score. We've actually gotten, on this particular property, it's gotten worse. We were at 82. We've now dropped to 60. That's because as our site energy utilization intensity has gone up by 23 points, or roughly 15%. It also calculates your greenhouse gas emission intensity, water use, all of that. And then these data items are automatically fed from the utility. So if I take a look here over the energy, in this case, we have both electricity and natural gas. This is the historical. This is how it worked. And you can have as many meters at any facility that you want. So if you wanted to track individual units, let's say it's an industrial park with different floors and different and different customers on each floor, and you have it sub-metered, you can get all of that information directly input to it. It also tracks water usage. Again, all of this is automated, and waste materials. So this is what's going to the landfills and things like that, what's going into recycle. This one's a lot more, is a lot more challenging to get automated data feeds for that. But there's a lot of work depending upon who your waste processor is. The big guys are supported, and we can get real-time data feeds. And then again, you set your goals. So, we were at 82 for our star score. We dropped to 60, but we got a target of 100. Okay. Now, the median property. So this happens to be I think this is a hospital, right? So even though we fell from 82 to 60, when and hit ourselves over the head and say bad, 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 we're still doing better than the average in the industry and things like that. And of course, fairly aggressive goals have been set with regard to the goals, the targets, and what we're trying to do. So all of this is available. And then if you come over to things like reporting, there are a host of Energy Star reports. So your fuel performance, certification status, I'll show us, and energy performance, data quality, sustainable checklists, all of that available. Just click it. And then there's Energy Star performance documents, statement of energy performance, energy design intent, progress and goals report. Fantastic, because you can put your projects in here, your Energy Star scoreboard and things like that. So for example, here is the statement of energy performance, and it gives the details, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can literally have a professional engineer, somebody sign off on this. And then this all becomes part of your certification, your Energy Star certification for that building. So over time, you could say we want to have a true certified Energy Star, a certificate from Energy Star. We can help you get there as well.
Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty powerful tool. So when from the customer's perspective, I see the value of the tool. It gives me some great functionality, helps me with setting my sustainability goals, managing those, and moving towards reducing carbon footprint specifically, or other goals. But you're in business as a for-profit entity. So why would you recommend a free tool?
So we are in business as a profit-making entity, but what is our business? And our business is we are a concierge utility. So our goal is to help our customers solve, manage, and move forward on their energy needs, their decarbonization goals, and things like that. Our goal is to make them as productive, efficient, and cost-effective as possible. And if a free tool is the best way to do that, we adopt the free tool, right? That's not where we make our money. And then it just becomes one additional hurdle. The beauty of this is you own your Energy Star portfolio manager, right? So, we set up the accounts for you, we manage it and everything else. But if you ever leave us and you're no longer one of our customers, that account still is yours, right? So we just, that gets transferred over to it. So you're not locked in to any one solution. The other piece is it's probably the most widely used item out there. And therefore, there's always more development going on, better things to incorporate.
The ecosystem building around it.
Right. And then lastly, one of the biggest challenges in all of this ESG stuff is how do we compare to somebody else? And what I mean by that is I have an investor. Investors are looking at a specific industry and they say, how do I assess the sustainability of company A, B, or C, or something like that? Again, we have this issue of how do you report ESG goals and things like that? Are you using the same metrics? Are you using the same processes? By standardizing on something like Energy Star Portfolio Manager, you can say, here it is. This is what our Energy Star rating is. Here's our energy use intensity. Here's our water use intensity, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and if you want to know exactly how it's done, you point to the Department of Energy. Okay. So it's a great audit process, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And so we've hit our half hour. Wanted to throw one last unscripted question out there, kind of a curveball to you to end this up. So what does it mean to you personally as an executive of a company where you could be setting your own company goals to attain certain goals? What does it mean to you personally as a person to be helping the industry and helping businesses establish and attain sustainability goals and lower their carbon footprint? So what does it mean to you personally?
I think it means the same to me as it means to everybody else on this planet, is if we don't all work together, we ain't going to get there. And we've got a huge road ahead of us, and it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be, there's going to be problems and everything else. That's why Exergy exists as a concierge utility, to help you to navigate and manage that road forward. But everybody's got to pitch in. Everybody's got to do something. And if we can help, we hope that, people will sign up and, take that road with us on that regard. That's why, we wanted to choose something that is broadly accepted, don't lock people in and things like that. And then, as I said, you may have a facility that's Exergy managed and 20 others that aren't. We'll help you manage the other 20, okay, free of charge from that. So, yeah, well,
thanks for your time, Dave. And again, if anybody has any questions relating to making sense of your sustainability goals, lowering your carbon footprint, and how to get the most out of that Energy Star tool specifically, please reach out to us either on our website at exergyenergy.com. We'll be more than happy to respond there, or reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're very active users here. Hope this has been helpful, and everybody have a great day. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you, Randall. And again, everybody vote for Randall's. Take care. Thanks again.
Yep.